Hello everyone, this is Dr. Pooja Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Management, BSS Bhopal. So here we are today to learn about non-verbal communication. Now, what is non-verbal communication? So first let us look at the learning objectives of today. The first we will be studying about the definition, then we'll go to the concept of non-verbal communication, we'll study about the body language, concept, advantages, disadvantages. The next thing we'll be doing is para-language, the concept, advantages, disadvantages, and then we'll be doing sign language, the concept, advantages and disadvantages. In the end, we'll be also doing the uses of non-verbal communication. So next now let us start with the definition of non-verbal communication. So how do we define it? It is a process of communication, ideas or message by not using oral or written language but through facial expressions and body language. Sometimes symbols are also used like pictures, charts, graphs, diagrams, facial expressions, gestures, intonations, dressing sense and other aspects of our body, and in totality this is called as body language. Now body language, now during face-to-face communication, like I am communicating with you, they convey their message through gestures, provides feedback to the communicator. This study of body language is called kinesics. The role of different parts of our body, like for example the facial expressions, like suppose I start smiling. So what implication it gives to you? That I am very happy today. And if my face is gloomy, or the expert lecturer who is giving you a lecture, his face is gloomy, what does it tell you? That the person is sad, right? So the expressions accompany the speaker's words and also indicate the listener's reaction by the facial expressions which act like a feedback. Face is like the index of the mind. Eye contact. Now for a person, when he is making an oral presentation, eye contact creates a rapport with the audience. Now people who lack self-confidence generally avoid eye contact. The next important thing is gestures. Gestures are movements of hands or head or body. Gestures are very closely related to our personality. While sweeping gestures, like suppose you must have seen during the news articles you hear on the news, there are while speaking gestures. Sometimes they look very distracting or comical. Another important thing is our posture, the way we sit, the way we stand. It is very important in any kind of profession. Posture can indicate disregard or disrespect for the other person. So what are the positive signs? Number one, suppose you're leaning closer to somebody, what does it signify? Comfort, interest, you're interested. Relaxed posture, that means your openness to communicate. You want to absorb what I'm saying. Gesturing warmly with hands. Open palms, what does open palm tell you? Sincerity, openness, nodding, interest, agreement, understanding. Negative signs are some like you leaning away from somebody, shows discomfort, uneasiness, arms crossed over the chest which shows disagreement to the other person, hands clasped behind the back, it shows your anger, shows your frustration. Suppose you're sitting with your hands clasped behind your head, that shows you're a very arrogant personality, right? Advantages of body language. Simple and easy and does not require any kind of technology or skills. It is very natural and effective means of communication between two or more people. Now wherever silence is required, body language works. When people do not know whether to believe what they are hearing, they go with body language. Now what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages are very less. It does not convey the total message, but we also need to remember that we need verbal communication. Some gestures vary from different regions to regions, different parts of the country, so that also could be one of the disadvantages. Now this was all about body language. Now we go to the second very important topic, that is para-language. Now what is all this para-language about? It is non-verbal because it does not consist of words. It includes tone of voice, pitch, rhythm, volume, pause or break of sentence. So first let's talk about voice. The first signal we receive or use is voice. It tells about the speaker's gender, background, education, training and temperament. Like for example, you can't see me now, but even if you hear my voice today, you will come to know that it is a female voice. You'll come to know that yes, this ma'am is teaching us non-verbal communication, so she is educated. She is trained in this particular module, right? And my temperament, since I'm teaching you, so I'm quite happy. What is tone? Tone is the quality of voice. Pitch is the high or low note of the scale. Speed. Suppose I start teaching you very fast, you'll not understand, you'll skip to some other video, right? So the speed also has to be very, very accurate. Stress on a particular word can change the meaning and implication of the sentence. For example, when I say para language, that means these two words are very important and I'm stressing on these two words. Next I go to silence or pause. Now what does that mean? Before or after certain words, you know, there is a certain pause. What do you mean by this? Have you ever heard during the annual prize distribution ceremony when the host or the anchor, they say, the first prize is bagged by, and then they go quiet, they go silent. What does that mean? They're trying to create a hype in the audience, they're trying to create a hype in the crowd to find out the answer. So that is the importance of paralanguage. So let's do the advantages now. Paralanguage is closely associated to oral communication because I'm speaking. A good listener can make out a lot or learn a lot from a good speaker. One's skills and educational qualifications can also be judged on the basis of paralanguage. It is an indicator of one's designation in the organization. But what are the disadvantages? It is not a complete language and cannot be totally relied upon. Diversity in Indian culture also plays a hurdle in achieving the uniformity since speakers from different parts of the country have different speech styles. So now we move on to the third type, that is called as the sign language. Now what is sign language? Marks or symbols used to mean something is deemed as sign language. Gestures are used in place of words. It can be categorized into two. One is visual signs and the second one is audio signs. So first we'll talk about the visual signs. Visual means pictures. So this sign is a mark or a picture with a specific meaning. For example, like you put pictures of various posters, drawings, photographs, cartoons, maps, diagrams you see in various presentations, you see in the news, you see in the various presentations by your teachers, by expert lectures. Visual signs can be seen in the following forms. So number one, color. Color is very, very important and associated with different moods. We all know that blue color is a very soothing color. Similarly, when we are on the road, right, for example, traffic signals, nobody tells us that when there is a red light we need to stop. It's a visual sign and we understand that sign language. Number two is pictorial presentation. A large variety of pictures from simple drawings to sophisticated colored pictures, photographs are used on posters and ads. Pictures are universally understood and very easily remembered. They can make an immediate impact. So first, let us look at what are the advantages of visual signs. Conveying a message through visuals is a very economic and effective way. Colorful and lively pictures make the communication even more interesting. It also works when the audience is illiterate. That's very, very important. And that is why you must have seen there are so many ads by the Indian government which come in the television, which we see for the social advertising. They are generally addressed to the illiterates and they use more of visual signs. But what are the limitations of this? It requires a lot of skill to draw pictures, posters. It conveys only simple, elementary ideas and cannot be used when complexity arises. Maybe it is misunderstood or maybe it is misinterpreted. You never know because there is diversity. Sign language cannot be a substitute for verbal communication. It is only a supplement to it. Now we go to the number 2 of sign language, and that is audio signs. Now what are audio signs? The name itself suggests sound signals, very useful in time management. Your college bell, right? The alarm clock, they convey the message very quickly and uniformly to the larger audience. So now let me just give you a recap of what we've done so far. In this particular module, we have covered what is non-verbal communication. We've covered the concept, we've covered the body language, or the study that is called as kinesics. After that, we've covered the advantages and disadvantages of body language. Why is it important in our day-to-day life? Then we've covered para-language, and we need to study that para-language is very, very crucial and supplemented with the verbal communication. The third we have done is sign language, where we did audio signs and visual signs, and now in the end we are going to summarize the whole thing with the uses of non-verbal methods. Number 1, the quality and speed in conveyance and response makes non-verbal methods extremely useful in many situations. It is less time consuming as compared to verbal communication, where you have to speak, written communication where you have to write and send a message and then the response will come. Here the feedback is very, very fast. Visual methods, they can present a large amount of complex data to a compact form. For example, graphs, powerful response. Non-verbal methods give a very powerful response, and plus it overcomes barriers of language. So we'll meet again in our next module on non-verbal communication, and we'll continue the same. Thank you.